Hey, Book Baddie!
Welcome to the Bound to be Bad podcast.
A book club podcast where we discuss one book a season from the perspective of someone who's never read the book before.
And from the perspective of someone who has. This season we are so excited to be reading Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros with you.
I'm Casper. My pronouns are they, she, and I'm the first year cadet.
And I'm Cierra. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the wing leader.
We aim to rave and rant about anything and everything that comes to mind while reading. But please note, this podcast will be discussing book spoilers as we talk about each week's chapters.
As this will be Casper's first time reading, spoilers for anything beyond the already read material is not fair game.
This podcast is run by adults who will most likely be using adult language and talking about adult themes, so please be aware of your surroundings while listening.
These thoughts and opinions are expressly our own and by no means reflect those of the original author. Reading is a privilege, books are art, and art is subjective.
That being said, we'd love for you to read along with us and share your thoughts and opinions as well.
So, without further ado, prepare to enter Bazgayev War College. I can never say college correctly because of this intro. Alrighty, welcome to our bonus chapters episode. Let's talk about how this conversation is about to go down. If you have not yet read the bonus chapters, we highly recommend that you do, as we will be discussing spoilers for them and the entirety of Fourth Wing. They are the same chapters from the main book, but from Xaden's POV. So having read the book, or at the very least, chapters 9, 16, and 27, is crucial before listening to this episode. The 3 bonus chapters are available either at the back of the US paperback edition, or can be read for free on Rebecca Yarros' website. Before we dive in, please consider giving us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Audible, along with a lovely little love note before you leave. It's the best way for us to reach new listeners, and we'd love to read your love notes on the pod. In this episode, we'll first go over our newest or latest hyperfixations. This is, after all, my excuse to catch up with my bestie. My bestie, not your bestie, my bestie. And force them to obsess over my obsessions too. We have a very loving relationship. I forced them, and they're mine, and they're not yours.
and she definitely doesn't bully me.
Nope. Then Casper will provide a summary of the bonus chapters. We'll then give our brief general overall thoughts before diving into each chapter individually. Then we'll discuss our favorite quotes or moments and any predictions for the rest of the series. Normally, we would then each dedicate a song to each chapter. But seeing as we've already done that for these chapters, we will be skipping that today. But if you haven't checked out our accompanying playlist, every song we've dedicated to the entirety of Fourth Wing has been added and is available for your listening pleasure. Got it? Good.
Don't forget it.
Don't forget, it's pretty good. We got some good songs on there.
Mm-hmm. It's a jam.
So what's new with you?
I have been reading so many Batman comics. I've lost track of the number that I have read in the past few weeks. Batman is one of my many special interests, but has been one of my, longest ongoing one. Starting with Batman the Animated Series when I was a very small little child.
Do you have a visible Harley Quinn tat?
I got these ones.
You've got a few of them diamonds.
I got a couple, yep. I got one here, I've got these ones here, and then I've got 3 of them on my upper thigh. My original plan, which I might still end up finishing eventually, was to get all of the diamonds that are on Harley's original jumpsuit, because that is my favorite version of Harley. It's the one I grew up with, and I think the most fun. But yeah, been reading a lot of Batman. Batman. I'm Batman.
So I finished The Witch Collector, and I started the second book in this series, and I don't know what Charissa Weeks, I believe it's Teresa, but with a sh in front of it. Charissa Weeks. I don't know what you put in this, but it's crack. It's so fucking good. I have been so obsessed with this book. I don't know where Like, so the Witch Collector crawled, then jogged at the very end for this book to run. I don't understand what changed. I was hooked like 6 chapters in. He has climbed the ranks of my book boyfriend. Like, there was a chapter in this book that was so just like devotion and yearning, and I've learned through Joyce from the tripod that is my sexual orientation, is devotion and yearning, and it's so good. Read it. It's also from an independent publisher.
Oh, nice.
So read it. It's so good. Want to take it away with the summary?
Yes. Let's take a little trip back in time to chapter 9. It is the very first time Xaden takes Violet to the mat, and boy, does he have a hard time focusing. What is this strange feeling he's having for the daughter of his foe? We flash forward to chapter 16, where during threshing, Violet has just spotted not 1 but 2 dragons, and a certain Dane Atos seems to think Xaden interfered with the outcome somehow. No matter, he'll just have to put him in his place. But after it's announced that Violet will be able to keep both her dragons, the pompous, codex-loving little shit dares to kiss her right there on the flight field. And now what's this new feeling? Could that be jealousy?
What is this feeling? So
sudden and new.
Sorry.
On to chapter 27, where Violet's squad is visiting Mira's outpost for some up-close learning. And Sigale, just couldn't stay away from her mate any longer than the 3 days they were apart. And Dane doesn't seem too pleased about having Xaden there. But Xaden certainly enjoys taunting him by getting close to Violet, and he's downright thrilled when he discovers his new bond with Violet, speaking sweet nothings straight into her brilliant mind. But suddenly, the post is under attack, and Mira needs Xaden to get Violet the fuck out of here. Luckily, Imogen returns from her secret mission just in time, leaving no one to even realize she was gone. And though Xaden finally admits to himself that he loves her, he knows that after distracting Violet with a passionate kiss so that Taryn could carry her away, she'll never forgive him.
So, I'm curious. Because we got these bonus chapters, which are essentially chapters we already have had, but from a different POV. What are your general thoughts on them? Do you feel like it was a bit of a waste of page time instead of screen time?
No, I absolutely adored it. I love seeing all of this from Xaden's perspective. I would, if Rebecca Yarros came out and did a whole book from Xaden's POV, the way Stephanie Meyer did with Edward, I would read the shit out of that.
Me too.
I absolutely adore it. And I also love that it's available for everyone. It's on her website, even if you don't have the book.
It's not just a cash grab.
Yes, exactly.
Although I will say they aren't available on her website until a couple months after they've come out in books. So you gotta wait longer for it, but it still ends up being available for free.
Or library?
Yeah.
I do love the library.
It's been a long time since I've gone, but I have trauma with late fees from the library that keeps me away.
That I understand.
Let's jump into our very first chapter. These first 3 pages. Xaden isn't as confident in his reasoning for challenging Violet on the mat as he seems, but he can't help himself from teaching her anyway. So my very first highlight is just how absorbed Xaden is as soon as he challenges her, as well as we get some information that I'm wondering if it correlates to later in the book. It states, I forget the members of Second Squad surrounding the mat. Forget the mission I'm due to fly this weekend. Focusing solely on her. Her being Violet. If you didn't know. And I was just the mission in 2 weeks. Is that the mission Violet maybe catches you coming back from after losing orally? Because this is even before Gauntlet practice starts.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Throughout these bonus chapters, we'll get mentions of missions quite a bit. And I'm just are all the missions the same? Or are they different missions?
That's what I've wondered too. Because it's from the few details we've gotten, it does kind of seem like they're all taking the daggers to the Griffin flyers. But I'm really curious. I want to know if there's any espionage going on. I want to know the secrets.
Secret. I got a secret. And then our next highlight is a shared one. This one spans a couple of different highlights for me. Do you mind if I read it?
Please do.
Alrighty. So this is just about how long Xaden's known that Violet's been poisoning her opponents. It states, Took me all of 2 weeks to realize she's somehow figured out who she'll be facing and has been poisoning her opponents. That brilliant, devious mind might regrettably be a complete turn-on, but she's going to get herself killed if she depends solely on that method. Were she any other opponent, I'd put that blade against her throat, proving my point and ending the match. But fuck me if I don't feel like I somehow owe the first year for keeping her mouth shut about the meeting she saw under the oak tree. My form of gratitude just happens to be not killing her as she lies at my feet, battling her own lungs. My note to this rather long highlight was, it only took you 2 weeks, but she's had 5 other challenges before now? 6, I think, in total. And this is the one where Ray McCory was supposed to have come in, but she got poisoned too early. And so you waited 3 weeks to do anything about it? Sure, your only form of gratitude is not killing her. But I also get, like, if this is your first opportunity to confront her about it. But I'm also choosing to believe that you just wanted to see her smart booty in action, you horn dog, you.
My note was just, ooh, he wants to kiss her. He wants to love her.
Alrighty, we got another shared highlight.
Violet is too soft of a name for her. Too breakable. I'm well aware of the shit people talk about her bones and joints, but from what I've seen, the woman has a core of steel. I just really, really love seeing what he thinks about Violet, like from his own perspective, and just like hearing his thoughts, just, oh, it's so sweet. I love watching him fall for her.
And I love the way he says the shit people talk about her as if, like, it can't possibly be true. It's so cute.
Yeah.
So in these next 2 pages, Xaden inwardly admits to having fun while informing Violet that he's on to her. And we get a sneak peek into how Xaden's shields work. And then the next highlight is a shared one. Anytime Sigale and Violet have something in common, I like to highlight it. Vice versa with Taryn and Xaden. So Violet states, I fucking hate you. A corner of my mouth lifts. God, she's just as merciless as Sigale when it comes to her tongue. And I'm like, oh, she's just like his mom.
Right? I was like, no wonder he likes her so much. He likes the sassies.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes sense because he's also a sassy.
Yeah. I needed to highlight Xaden having fun. It does get brought up later in these bonus chapters as well, but so much of his persona from Violet's perspective in this book is like, he's serious, he's a man on a mission, like, he's never not thinking 3 steps ahead of everybody. And so, like, seeing him having fun is just refreshing. And it goes like this. She scowls, but doesn't take the help this time, standing on her own, and another smile curves my mouth. I can't remember the last time I had so much fun. Every single one of her expressions is beautifully raw. There's no guile, no artifice, but there's also no control. He just enjoys her company, even when they're supposed to be hostile towards each other. And he's clearly just infatuated with her face card. He's like, your face card never declines.
For real. That baby's got no limit.
The increase is limitless.
Yes. The limit does not exist.
Exactly. I love when multiple puns come together.
Mm-hmm. So my next one, basically, Xaden gets distracted, and that leaves an opportunity for Violet to knock him on his ass. And Sigale butts in. Sigale pushes through my shields. What did I say about being reckless? Like, goddamn, Sigale really is just such a mom. Mm-hmm. Like, you should have listened to me.
We get so much of her in these bonus chapters, and it's so nice.
I love it so much.
So this is a shared highlight, but I just thought it was so cool seeing how other people envision their, what Violet calls like her archives, like their inner mind palace, their safe space from where they draw their magic from. And it says, I plant my feet on that mental hillside in Tyrandor and reinforce my shields. Like, that's so cool. I want to see this hillside. Give me more information about it.
Yeah, same. I love it.
And where are other people's? I want to know what everybody else's little mind palaces are.
Yeah.
Give it to me, Rebecca. So anytime he talks about how brilliant she is, I have to highlight it because it makes me melt. It says, then I watch her face with rapt fascination as her expression shifts from wide-eyed shock to tensing fear to pursed-lipped anger, all in a matter of seconds. The speed with which she processes information and compartmentalizes her feelings is such an advantage, and I doubt she even knows it. My only note to this was, we get it. You think her mind is sexy. But go on. Continue. I want to hear more.
Go on.
Go on. Alrighty. These next 2 pages, we see mutual attraction and tension, and also Garrick giving Xaden shit.
So Xaden is continuing to focus on Violet and her reactions, and he realizes, I'm not the only one attracted here. Fuck. This is dangerous. She is dangerous. Like, yeah, very observant, dude. Good job.
I put just now picking up on that one, huh?
Silly, silly boy.
Good job, bud. Here's my note for this one.
Uh-huh. I think you should go ahead and take it away.
Okay, I can do that. So this is another shared highlight. I'll just read it. There's no preamble for this one. Okay. I am so giggly. I'm sorry. It says, she tenses under me, and fuck, her thighs clench around my hips. I have to get the fuck off her before she realizes she has another weapon at her disposal when it comes to me. My note just says, oh, he's so hard right now.
Xaden, is that a dagger in your pocket?
Or is you just happy to see me?
Mm-hmm. So, Violet, after being on top of him, finally gets off of Xaden, and he thinks, thank gods she has the common sense to release my hips from the grip of her thighs, because mine has fled, replaced by the urge to leave them right where they are, and carry her to the nearest empty room to see just how attracted we both are. But goddamn down, boy! There are people watching! My goodness!
They like a show. They like to be the show.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of a exhibitionist, are you there?
Just a little bit.
A little bit.
Oh, it's the next freaking chapter. Look at us. Flying through this. Chapter 16. These first 3-ish pages, we get snarky Segale banter as Xaden confronts an accusing Dane and a freshly threshed Violet.
I like that. Freshly threshed.
Thank you.
Dane has accused Xaden of interfering.
How rude.
And it says, Atos asks Sorengale, panicking like the infantry soldier he should have been, and insinuating that I changed the outcome of threshing. Yeah! Should have been in the infantry, because you just a little whiny baby.
Yeah, you tell him. This next one's a shared highlight. And I was just like, it's proof. It's a proof for why he... First of all, Xaden's just apparently spying. With no regard for, like, people's privacies. I understand why he's spying on them specifically in this moment. But it states, Atos's fingers dent into the shoulders of Sorengale's uniform, right above the bandage from where she took the blade from that limp dick first year tear and incinerated. An unexplainable rage pumps into my veins like little shards of ice, cutting everything in its path. And I was like, it was Dane hurting her that causes him to stop spying.
Yes, it is. Exactly. You are correct. I just love that Xaden has such a foul mouth. Beautiful.
He's gonna call almost everybody he runs into a name of some sort. Mostly Dane. But it's so good and it's so fun to read.
Delicious.
Delicious. So this is just a moment of, I think, tension, because just in general he's jealous of Violet and Dane. But also, I feel like in this moment it proves to him a little bit that he's the monster that everybody always says he is. And maybe I'm just searching for it in this book because I'm like, my poor mortally gray baby. The quote says, and instead of glaring up at me with that fire I can't seem to stay the fuck away from, it's fear making her eyes appear more amber than blue in the moonlight. Fear for Atos? Something unpleasant twists in my gut. I'm like, it's because you don't want to be viewed a monster by someone you're starting to have feelings for. Makes me feel so bad. But also, it's called jealousy, babe.
Mm-hmm.
Recognize it so then you can get after it.
Embrace it.
Embrace it.
The jealousy is there to tell you something.
Listen to your body.
Yes, it is very wise.
Or at the very least, knows more than you do currently when it comes to Violet.
Mm-hmm.
And then, on the same page, Violet says, and I would do it again. She tilts her stubborn chin at me. Drinkies, we got a
Oh,
gin.
drop my cap. Drinkies. So it says, and I quote, "At some point, Sorengale is going to have to recognize that the last year in the quadrant has changed her little friend into someone she doesn't actually know." I'm like, you see, even Xaden sees it. Like, he understands. This is not your bestie friend anymore. Your bestie friend.
Your bestie friend.
He's not your bestie anymore.
It's one of those things where you're so close to it that you can't see the changes sometimes. It's sad when someone else has to wake you up. But kind of good on him, too, for being that person that's like, nah, let me break her heart.
Yeah.
We all kind of need that one person in our lives that'll just be blunt with you. If it means that you'll be able to better yourself in the end. Not just blunt for blunt's sake.
Indeed, indeed.
So moving on to the next couple of pages. Xaden is conflicted after forcing Dane to show his true colors in front of Violet. And he can't help but follow Violet after her clear dismissal. Don't know if I'm not adding these to the total overall. But anytime, because now I've got it so ingrained to look for anything that is related to lightning, I have to point it out now because I see it everywhere. It just says
Compulsion.
Yeah, causing my heart to jolt. Now it's just like, lightning tracking.
It counts.
It counts.
Xaden grabs hold of Violet and pulls her out of the path of another imminent collision. Is this what it's going to be like trying to keep this woman alive? She'll stand up to 3 armed bullies to defend the smallest dragon, but she won't watch where the fuck she's walking? Listen. You can be brave and clumsy. God damn it.
It's true.
Okay, shut
You can
up.
be bravely clumsy
Yeah, shut up.
and clumsily brave.
Yeah. ¿Por qué no los dos?
Our next one is shared. I'm surprised we didn't select it as a favorite. Maybe I meant to, but we have a lot of favorites. So I'm just going to say this one now.
Do it.
Alrighty. So it's just Sigale giving Xaden crap. It says, "Who's getting mushy?" Sigale asks. Attracted and mushy aren't the same thing. This is the second time he's been, like, contradictory to her pointing out his feelings. I'm just like, I'm sensing a pattern. It's so good. So these next 2 pages, Xaden goes from merciless teasing... Yes. Xaden goes from getting mercilessly teased from Sigale to getting mercilessly... What are words? Words are so hard. Okay, so Xaden goes from getting mercilessly teased from Sigale to getting mercilessly teased from his bestie as it's announced that Violet gets to keep both dragons. So my first highlight here, I'm curious what you think of how this teasing is phrased. It says, so Violet says, "Little does he know how much you dislike me," he being Taryn. To which Sigale responds, "He knows exactly how much you dislike her and how often you stare." Xaden interrupts, "I will volunteer for every cold weather mission in existence if you..." Sigale says, "Rude, as if your inability to control your own hormones should result in my discomfort." I'm curious as... I get this is like Sigale jumping in on what Violet says, but do you think Taryn actually knows? And if so, how does he know? Is it because Sigale's told him? Or do you think this is just Sigale being like, yeah, he definitely knows how much you don't like her, kind of a thing?
Oh no, I think he knows. It has made me wonder if, like, before Taryn bonded Violet, or chose Violet, if Xaden still had that connection to Taryn, that they can, like, speak to each other. And I think they can, so I definitely got the impression that Taryn is just, like, listening in to some of Xaden's thoughts that he can't exactly block out.
I have another thought later when we see he checks for the bond, I think at the end of this one or the next one.
I think it's the
But
next one.
Oh, no, it isn't this. It's on the next page.
Oh, okay.
I have that same question because he recognizes Taryn's magic. And I'm like, is it because you've talked to him before? Violet and Taryn bonded? But yeah, I want to know more of, like, time before Violet, between Taryn, Sigale, and Xaden.
So, Xaden threatening Sigale with every cold weather mission that she would absolutely hate. And he thinks, ruthless and vicious as my girl might be, she draws the line at the cold. And I'm like, the way he calls her my girl, that's just so sweet and it makes me melt.
Melt in what way, though? Melt in a, like, I guess in this context, my girl, for me, felt very pet namey because Sigale isn't human. So I don't know how you took it because my girl could also be taken in a lot of different ways.
It could. I took it more as like a, that's my bestie, that's my girl, you know?
Gotcha. Yeah.
They have not quite yet announced that Violet will be able to keep her dragons. But Xaden knows what's going on. And he thinks even the Empyrean isn't going to tell the second largest dragon on the continent no when he finally wants to bond. Like, yeah, Terran truly is the big dragon on campus. Like,
not at this moment. Melgren's there. So Code is there.
Yes, but
when Melgren's not there.
Yes. And in general, the Empyrean, they respect him. He got that big swinging dragon dick.
That took me off guard and I immediately became a squeak toy.
I like it.
So this is the highlight I had where I was like, oh, another example of did Terran and Xaden have a relationship of any kind before Violet was thrown into the mix. It says, I lower my shields just enough to feel the bond. The hard sapphire one I share with Sigale is locked into place as always, but now there are two more. The onyx I recognize as Terran, and the other a glimmering strand of silver like the ends of her hair. Fuck, he really did bond her. So I'm just like, I love this explanation of magic and that he can like see the bond in his mind. But also, do you recognize the onyx as Terran because you've talked to him before? Or are you just matching it to the color of his scales?
That's a great question.
Or has Sigale had to play middleman the entire time? How does this work?
That would also amuse the fuck out of me.
That'd be really funny. It would also explain like the basis of their snark. Like if the foundation of their relationship had to start from like, I'm tired of being the middle person. Like, I'm going to play with this now.
Yes.
So the next 2 pages in this bonus chapter 16, Xaden tries and fails to play it cool as he notices Dane touching and then kissing Violet, all while Sigale and Garrick continue their merciless onslaught. We get so much of Garrick in these bonus chapters, and I love him. Specifically because of this line. Not only this line, but Xaden is trying to figure out how he can best protect Violet. He's suggesting Liam. Garrick says, or you could give her a chance to make it on her own first. Garrick folds his arms across his chest and glances sideways at me. There are a multitude of reasons he might be right. And I was just like, I could kiss Garrick on the mouth for this suggestion. Mm-hmm. Because unfortunately, as we'll see throughout these bonus chapters, so much of communication has Violet left out. And Garrick is like, not necessarily like, let her fend for herself, but let her be her own person first before you try to sweep in with this whole overbearing protection thing that is necessary as I'm sure it feels. It's not too different from the infantilizing that Dane does. This is just more obviously babying her, whereas this is, let me just put a retinue of people around you at all times. If Xaden were to ever have a kid, he would not do well with them being on their own.
Helicopter parent.
Uh-huh.
I also really love Garrick and his sassy littleness. His little sassiness.
And this note I had just because it reminded me of you and me.
Yeah.
So Garrick is just so amused that Xaden is jealous. And he says, in 20 years, I don't think I've ever seen you jealous before. This is amazing. I was like, they've been friends for 20 years? That's us.
Yeah.
I've been in this weird state all day where like anything sets off another song for me.
Yesterday, I had freaking Phil Collins stuck in my head. That's all. It's always the same. It's just a shame. That's all.
Nice.
Such
For some
a banger.
reason, I've got, is it a Leanne Rimes song? And I haven't listened to Leanne Rimes since like middle school.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even remember how it goes at the moment.
Is it Can't Fight the Moonlight? That's the only one I know off the top of my head. Can't fight the moonlight, no. You can't fight it. No matter what you do, the night is gonna get to you. You're welcome.
It's been stuck in my head for like days, and now suddenly that I'm trying to recall it, I'm like, nope.
Yeah, it's the way the brain works. So stupid.
Is it I Need You? Yeah, I Need You has been stuck in my head.
I don't think I know.
I need you like water, like breath, like rain. I need you like mercy from heaven.
God, I haven't heard that song in forever.
But I think it's been stuck in my head too because I didn't know the lyrics for From Heaven's Gate. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, it's not From Heaven's Gaze. Okay. No more Leanne rhymes. Go away. Chapter 27. So in these first 3 pages, we're back at Montserrat, but from Xaden's POV, and he's one step ahead of everybody, while simultaneously being distracted by Violet. We find out where the heck Imogen has been throughout this chapter. It says, I'm not about to do anything that could end this little training session early and jeopardize Imogen's mission should her squad realize she isn't actually vomiting in the infirmary, which, did we know that? I've never heard that information before.
Never mentioned.
Yeah. And then it says, not that the healer will remember her ever being there thanks to Imogen's handy little signet. If she's on schedule, she'd be on her way back from delivering the drop I brought with me. I was like, and that's why Xaden's pack was lighter when they're leaving later.
It all makes sense now.
Thank you for explaining, Rebecca.
Yes. Thank you, Rebecca. Okay, so they're in the briefing room, and it says, Riddick Gamlin asks, by Dune, did he just put his dirty ass boots on the briefing table? And like, I love that Xaden is just so affronted by Riddick putting his feet on the table.
And also, this is the first time we ever hear his last name.
Yeah!
That's another thing about these chapters is it rounds out the world because it will give us like this random person's last name and this random person's last name and oh, this person has this dragon. And it's nice. I appreciate it. So I just found it interesting what Xaden notices she smells like. And it says, shit like this is why I keep my inconvenient feelings about Violet to my damned self. No matter how good she looks today, or how delectable she smells sitting next to me, like some kind of citrus that makes me want to bury my face in the side of her neck and see just how pink I can get her cheeks to flush. And I'm just like, interesting that she smells like citrus, and citrus is what she uses to poison, and then she also gets poisoned in the end. It all ties together.
It does, it does. I just absolutely love the things he thinks about her, especially because most of the time, they're fucking horny. Xaden is still getting a little bit jealous of Liam. So it says, still, I'd put myself right between her and Liam, ignoring his knowing little smirk when I took the chair closest to Violet. There's nothing going on there, but he can back the fuck up when I'm around. Like, okay, but like, clearly you're still kind of jealous.
Can't nobody, not even her friends, be sitting next to her.
Not even his own brother.
Mm-hmm. Like, take a chill pill, Xaden. Damn.
Honestly, getting a little possessive.
And my next highlight was just pointing out that we find out Emery's last name. Because they've only ever been known as Emery that I'm aware of. And it's Barnes.
And Noble?
Bucky Barnes.
Bucky Barnes.
Emery is secretly got one arm.
Oh no.
As soon as Mira says, what's the plan to get into this fake keep situation that we have on the table here, he goes through all these scenarios in his head. And I think it's funny that the very first scenario he comes up with is the one that eventually gets told by everybody / mostly thought up of by Dane in the group. But it says, wide-scale dragonfire is out. Fine. Liam scouts out their defenses, then I drench the place in shadow for our assault. Half of us dismount, while the other half take out the griffins in the air, and I move in darkness below to free the prisoners while Emery directs controlled blasts of fire by air wielding, using Quinn as a scout. I runs through 3 other battle strategies, then stutters on a 4th as I glance in Violet's direction. And I'm just like, dang. This is literally everything that everyone has said. Like, I think Riddick brings up that, well, there goes our torching the place thing later. Dane brings up, Emery, you can wield air, right? Then you can direct your fire. And then he goes off about, like, but then I'd have to get off my dragon. And then I think Dane even asks Quinn if she can astral project from her dragon. And so he asks her to scout, essentially, like, beat for beat. Xaden's already thought all of it.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. And the next 2 pages, Liam and Xaden share a small moment. And Xaden is moved. Violet defended them, And we see a side of Zayden we've never seen before. This one is a drinkies because Zayden lifts his chin when Mira eyes Liam's rebellion relic. Drink up, Baddie. Am I counting it, even though it's Zayden and not Violet? Yes. Why? Because I'm a thirsty bitch.
Zayden is thinking that Mira and company better get used to the marked ones being around. It says, because we're here to stay, at least until we get Orisha's forge up and running. And that makes me wonder, does that mean that they're like planning on deserting sometime soon? Like if they're only going to be there until they get Orisha's forge up and running and then they go and dip?
Maybe. Good call. I would never have put that thought together. But I do find in this chapter specifically, we find out a lot about things that aren't even stated in Fourth Wing, it feels like. Like with what specifically Imogen is delivering. And then he even like gives explanations for the daggers and the alloy in them. And I don't think we ever got that in the main story.
I thought we did. Maybe
But
not.
do we know what the alloy did?
I guess we didn't know what it does. We just know it stops them. Yeah. So Zayden is messing with Dane. And it says, I put my figurine on the table and settle in my chair, then wrap my arm around the back of Violet's seat and enjoy the sight of Dane grinding his teeth. Give Atos here the position we all know he craves. His jaw flexes, and I leave my arm planted like a battle marker. The command he can have. I'm mildly curious to see what he does with it. But that's the only position I'm ceding to the spoiled whiner. Baddie, Baddie, Baddie boy! Keep it up.
This is also very territorial.
It is.
Alrighty, these next two pages, Zayden internally argues with Sigale and reveals that he's already in love with Violet. Alrighty, we've got a shared highlight here. This is him essentially admitting to being in love with her. It says, and there she goes again, defending me. Fuck, I love this woman. She jabs the point of her elbow into my biceps, and I fight the upward curve of my mouth. I love that she isn't scared of me, that she'll call me out in a way no one else besides Sigale does. Everything she does, even blatantly elbowing me in front of her squad, turns me on. I'm fucked on every level known to man when it comes to Violet, Sora, and Gale. He is so far gone.
And even if it is just like a kind of a more subconscious, like, I love her. He also says, that was when I hated the idea of her, before I knew her, loved her. So like, he is acknowledging, he's realizing.
Oh, I just highlighted that we find out Imogen's dragon's name in this, but that it adds to my confusion because it's similar to another dragon name. It says, speaking of griffins, I say to Sigale, any news from Glane? I was like, hey, that's Imogen's dragon. Not to be confused with Caroline's dragon, which is Glean. So we've got a Glane and a Glean.
It's fine. It's fine. It's not confusing.
No.
So in continuing talking about Imogen and her little mission, it says, sending Imogen an hour south toward the Breivik border was a calculated risk, given that I hadn't had much time to get a message to Serena and her drift. But rendezvousing there was a far better choice than risking her being caught by the Cygnus flyers. Cygnus flyers would take the daggers and then kill Imogen to make a point. Stubborn assholes. I was like, okay, so not all of the Griffin flyers are like friendly allies. Some of them are a little bit dangerous. Good to know, good to know.
So in these next two pages, Violet impresses Zayden with lesser magic. Zayden struggles with how he should feel about Mira. Boy's feelings about her sister go up and down quite a bit in these last couple of pages.
That's so funny to me.
So we have a shared highlight here. So it's when Violet uses her magic to move her dragon figurine into their model of the keep. And it says, I shouldn't be impressed. It's just lesser magic. But damn, she's sexy when she takes charge. And my note is just, we love a man who loves a woman in power.
Yes, we do.
Literally, she could look to the left and he would think it was the hottest thing in the world. Or like
She could fart and he'd be turned on.
I was going to say she could breathe, but yeah, she could also do that.
Sorry.
The next couple of pages, we find out Imogen has arrived safely, and Zayden steps in to prevent Mira from spilling things that he deems Violet unready for. So my first highlight here is the first instance of him bringing up Brennan of his own volition, showing that, like, oh, not only do you know Brendan, but you actually kind of have, like, somewhat of a relationship with him. But it's after he's snarky about Dane, because he gets excused. And she asks, is that what she can expect next year? And he's like, Ato's being an asshole. I keep my hands off my weapons. Killing Mira might appease the burning need for revenge I've learned to live with, but it's not worth upsetting Violet or dealing with the oldest Soaring Gale sibling either. I'm just like, whenever Xaden feels cornered or threatened, he suddenly views himself distantly or more cold. I think he even, like, describes ice earlier.
Yeah.
And then he just becomes a lot more okay with murder.
It's a little concerning.
A little bit. And I wonder if it's him taking on the attributes that other people have put on him. Like you're a monster. And so he goes to this place of being a monster in order to get the stuff he needs to done that maybe he himself at his core wouldn't be okay with.
Okay, so Mira is questioning Xaden and the mated dragons only being able to be apart for like 3 days. And Xaden tells her, it wasn't my choice. Lying is easy, except when it comes to Violet. I haven't quite figured that one out yet. Lying by omission, though, you've definitely figured that one out.
I can't tell if this is meant to be read as like he's feeling guilty, but he's pushing off those guilty feelings while he's trying to maneuver their situation. Or if it's like no, I honestly don't know what I'm doing situation. I feel like it can be read both ways, and I don't know. So we got another shared highlight. More of just him flip-flopping and being okay with murdering Mira. It says, my gut twists with anger and power rushes through me. Fuck it. Violet would get over her sister's death eventually. And then when Violet stands up and she's like, no, you're wrong about him. He thinks only in some ways the beating organ behind my ribs soothes the anger and my power recedes. He can't call his heart a heart. It's just the beating organ behind his ribs. And it's such an interesting juxtaposition to when they were back in the room for the scenario and his heart was waxing on and on about being in love with Violet only moments ago. Just for then, now that he's in this situation where he's feeling combative with someone, now his heart's just the organ that beats behind his ribs. And I'm like, dang, he's in certain situations like this, he definitely views himself as like the monster that Dane has blatantly called him to his face, and I'm sure others have said behind his back.
Yeah. That is a very astute observation. You're very smart, you're very wise.
Oh, thank you.
I just love that he was like, fuck it, Violet will get over it, as if she didn't already lose her dad, and to her knowledge, her brother. Like, okay, whatever.
Even at the very end of this chapter, when he's trying to figure out how to get Violet out, but he still wants to stay and help, Sigil's like, then you better damn well make sure her sister's okay. And I'm like, if you would have murdered her, she definitely wouldn't have left. I think Sigil's your voice of reason.
Mira's still, like, going after Xaden, being all, you know, how much do you really fucking know about him? Like, do you even know why he hates our mother? And Xaden thinks to himself, oh, fuck no. She isn't ready to hear half of what her mother did to me. What did she do? I would like to know.
But also, don't assume to know whether she's ready or not for that information. It's something that regards her, so maybe she should know.
That's true. That's true. But also, I want to know, Rebecca.
Rebecca. Alrighty, in the next couple of pages, Xaden plays awkward third wheel to Mira and Violet's fighting, and then Xaden's real colors show as the Griffin Flyers attack.
So now Mira and Violet are kind of arguing, and Xaden doesn't know what to do. He thinks, fuck, what are the rules when it comes to interfering with sisters? Am I supposed to step in? Let Violet handle it? Well, and let Liam and me beat the shit out of each other when we fought, but I'm not sure that's the right approach here. I'm also not about to infantilize Violet when her sister is doing a damn good job of it herself. So first of all, I love that he, like, does not know what to do.
He's like, only child syndrome.
But he also, like, recognizes that he doesn't really need to do anything, and, like, Violet's got this. And, like, boy, you do not want to get in between sisters, okay? Trust me on this.
It gets vicious.
Oh, yeah. But, like, sisters, they go for the throat emotionally. God damn. I cannot tell you how many fights I've had with my sisters that were, like, cutting.
I also had I didn't highlight this one specifically, but later on we learn, or maybe I do quote this specific bit a little bit later, but he says, Llewellyn, let Liam and me beat the shit out of each other. This is the first mention of a Llewellyn. Previously, it's always been Duke Lindell that was their foster person. But then he also says in Llewellyn, because Llewellyn is also a place.
Yeah, I noticed that too, and I was a little bit confused.
We'll talk about it a little bit more when that note comes up, but this is the start of the confusion, because it continues in future books.
Alrighty. Okay, so they're under attack, and Xaden thinks wards will only fall this quickly if the power supply is compromised or stolen, which means we have enemies within the keep already. Who is it? Tell me. Tell me who it is. I have an idea. But I would like confirmation, please and thank you.
Alrighty, so these next 2 pages, Xaden switches plans and takes Violet to her room to grab her things, but when he goes to grab his things, he finds Liam standing in the center of the room. This is just Liam essentially confronting Liam being the goodest good golden retriever moral compass of a boy. He's like, was it us? Xaden says, no. I already asked Sigale. We have no operations in the area. To which he gets interrupted. He says, except what Imogen pulled off today. Xaden says, this wasn't us, Liam. You know I'd never risk civilian casualties by taking down an entire outpost. Imogen carried 24 daggers across the border, but even that amount of power wouldn't be enough to affect our outage like this. And so I was like, this is a definitive answer, as well as just proving how good Liam is, because the thought of them betraying and hurting innocent people clearly does not sit right with Liam. But this is a definitive answer to what Imogen and Xaden brought here and then dropped off and gave to a specific group of Griffin Riders. And what those daggers do. Apparently they hold some sort of power that affects the wards.
Yeah.
The next couple pages, Xaden and Taryn hatch a plan as they escape. Xaden uses his and Violet's attraction to distract her, and Sigale provides little comfort to Xaden.
Okay, so they are running towards the western rampart to evacuate, and Dane catches up to them. And Xaden notes, is it just me, or is he already out of breath as we climb through the 3rd floor and out onto the roof? And it made me wonder if Dane is the fucking enemy inside, because where were you? What were you doing? Why were you running? Why are you out of breath?
I always took it as him just dogpiling stuff, reasons why he's better than Dane. Like, he's so out of breath, I could do this. He's so much better.
It could be that too. I'm just highly suspicious.
So this is the note I had about Llewellyn and Duke Lindell and the place Llewellyn. But the highlight says, Liam wastes no time taking the rampart at a run, just like we'd practiced hundreds of times in Llewellyn, back on 504. Liam says like he hasn't been taught battle strategy since we were kids. Llewellyn made sure of it once he took guardianship of us after the execution. When I did a Kindle search of the word Llewellyn, nothing came up. But when I searched Duke Lindell in chapter 21, it says, then I was sent to Tervain to be fostered by Luke Lindell, the same as Ryerson. In chapter 31, it says, I was mostly brought up by Duke Lindell at Tervain. So because Llewellyn is also a place, I think the Duke of Llewellyn just gets called Llewellyn in certain circles.
You know what? That would make sense. Because so I feel like in a lot of like Regency era media, when they talk about like dukes or lords of a specific place, they will call them by that specific place.
I have no reference for Regency stuff, so I didn't know that.
I can't think of a specific example right now, but I remember I'm having vague memories. So that being said, I could be completely wrong. If I am, someone correct me in the comments. But if I'm right,
Seems to track.
please put an example in the comments because I cannot come up with one. Thank you.
But yeah, that to my best guess, I think Llewellyn and Lindell are the same person. Because he is the Duke of the place Llewellyn. It just gets real confusing. This is just Xaden talking to Sigale as they're leaving. He essentially kind of uses her as a sounding board or like a journal entry sometimes, and it cracks me up. So Violet's pissed as she's being picked up by Taryn, and Xaden tells Sigale she'll never forgive me, especially if something happens to her sister. To which Sigale says, if she can't forgive you for the least of your transgressions, then she doesn't deserve you. Xaden says, I don't think she'll see it that way. So then Sigale says, then you'd better start praying to your gods that her sister survives. Which, her unwavering care for him, and...
Well, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna say, specifically, like, she specifically says, if she can't forgive you for the least of your transgressions, then she doesn't deserve you. And that's just such a dragon mama moment. And I'm here for it. I love it. It makes my heart happy.
Also, I think it's so cute. Like, it shows how deep their bond is that he's like, what do I do, Mom? She's mad.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know. Pray?
You did this, boy.
Yeah. Shall we get into our faves? Okay. So, our favorites. Clear back in chapter 9. We only had the one.
Oh, this a long one.
It's a very long one. It's essentially the entire conversation with Garrick.
Okay. So after Xaden has finished sparring with Violet, Garrick asks, you in the mood to spar with first years? Garrick asks, keeping pace with me once I'm a few steps from second squad, a smile tugging at his mouth. Or just that particular first year? And Xaden responds, sometimes I hate how fucking observant you are. Garrick says, it's hard to miss the way you look at her, he says, lowering his voice. Like I want to kill her? I retort, spotting an interesting match in claw section. Or don't finish that sentence when I'm in the mood to hit people. And then Garrick says, oh, would you please? He puts his hand to his heart and grins. I need you to use those big, strong hands to show me. I shove his shoulder hard enough to send him staggering sideways and keep walking out of his section and into claw. The farther the better when it comes to Sorengale.
Garrick gives him so much shit and it's so fun. Alrighty, so chapter 16, we had another shared. Xaden just thinks funny things about Dane and then Sigale reprimands him for his thoughts. It says, Gods, please give me a reason to beat the pompous, codex-loving shit out of him. Just once. He's nothing but an irritant. Have some self-control, Sigale lectures. So good.
Such a dragon mom. Like, reprimanding him, I love it.
Another shared favorite. I think we both liked almost all of the favorites.
Yep. So, thinking about Violet, Xaden thinks, the pint-sized morsel of straight-up arsenic nearly got herself killed on that field, and his concern is for protocol? The creative ways he describes her is just so beautiful.
And I love that even with Violet, like, I get at this point, he's probably still kind of waffling on how much he likes her, even though he knows he likes her. So the fact that he's just like, this tiny little fucking poison is violent fucking pain in my ass.
It says, in 1 second on that field, my attitude toward violence changed from maybe I'll kill her or maybe I won't to protect her at all costs. And not because she's brilliant or beautiful or infuriatingly capable of shredding my carefully crafted control, even though she's absolutely all of those things. Like, yes, it is, because you love her. Yes, you do. Like, it is not just because of the bond. Be honest with yourself. Come on. You love her.
This one I had to highlight because he uses the word I would use to describe this sentence. And I thought that was beautiful. But it's just Xaden relishing the fact that Dane can't say anything to the contrary in this moment. It says, his silence is fucking delicious, saying more to incriminate him than I ever could. And I was just like, fantastic, because the sentence is delicious. The next one was another shared. Atos finally says, no, I wouldn't have, when confronted about bending the rules. And Xaden thinks, fucking rule-loving coward. He doesn't deserve to breathe the same air as violence. She's half his size and 1,000 times braver. Talk about a disproportionate relationship. There's no rule in this godforsaken college that would keep me from saving Bodhi's, Garrick's, or Liam's lives. And now, hers. Just his quips, fucking rule-loving coward, is so good. And also just how much higher of a tier he puts Violet on compared to Dane. Mm-hmm. So good.
I just love how much he despises Dane. Like, it's beautiful. But then Violet questions him, like, the fuck did you do that for? And says, she doesn't care. Forget it. And she walks away. And Xaden thinks, swear to Amari, the 5'0" pain in my ass is the only person who ever has the nerve to dismiss me. Yeah, I do, because she ain't scared of you.
Who you think you is, Xaden?
Come on. So Xaden is reflecting on how, like, yesterday he wouldn't have given a shit about anything that happened to her, which isn't true, but okay. And he thinks, today, her blood is my blood.
And now they're siblings.
Well, there's that direction. I just was thinking, my heart's so gooey. That's so sweet.
Yeah, it is sweet. Too sweet. I had to make it weird.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. So basically, in Xaden telling Sigil that Tara knows exactly how much Xaden values his own life, while also, my gaze roams down Sorengale's body. There's absolutely nothing to dislike about what I see. In fact, if Amari herself ever designed a woman with my downfall in mind, well, fuck. Maybe that's exactly what violence is, my downfall. Soft skin, sharp mind, fierce temper, deadly with a dagger, brave to a fault, and utterly unruffled. What makes her lose complete control? What kind of man would she let unravel her? It's just like, she's his perfect woman, and he clearly wants to be her perfect man. Okay. So, Garrick comes to check in on Xaden and ask how he's doing, and Xaden tells him he's fine. And Garrick responds, I've seen corpses more fine than you. And Garrick, I fucking love you. You sassy little bitch. You're so funny.
Also, out of context, reading is like, I've seen corpses more fine than you.
Right? Like, I have to make sure I give the context here. Oh, so silly.
My next favorite. So, this is just internal monologue between Xaden getting angry about Dane kissing Violet, and Sigil steps into his thoughts. And he's thinking, how fucking dare he kiss the mouth he wouldn't bend a rule to protect when I would? Yes, what would you do? Sigil asks, fuck me, what wouldn't I do? And my note is just a picture of a melting ice cube with heart eyes.
I like it.
Because that's what I am doing currently. Chapter 27. Our next one is a shared favorite. And it's a bit more of a description of the bond and what it looks like. And, of course, Sigil banter. So, it says, the wispy, silvery bond solidifies. An emotion. Pride. Dancing down the pathway, even though Violet doesn't move a muscle. Holy shit, we really are connected. This could be dangerous, reckless, an unaffordable distraction, Sigil snaps, and I swear I hear her teeth clash. Fun. There's no denying the bond between us when it's shining at me like a fucking mage light. I'm just like, he sees the potential and he is excited for it.
Yeah. Delicious.
The next favorite I had, so he tries to talk into her mind for the first time. And this is Xaden's reaction to being able to. It says, it worked. My heart stumbles and I bite back a laugh. I was wrong. This isn't just fun. It's instantly vital to my existence. Stop. That's so cute.
That is so cute. Goddamn.
He's like, I need this to breathe.
So Dane is pointing out that because Xaden is there, he technically should be the one in charge.
Begrudgingly.
Begrudgingly. And it says, I can't help but wonder if he's submitting to my rank or accusing me of inappropriate behavior with a subordinate. Not that I give a fuck either way. If it were safe for Violet, I'd be ecstatically guilty of inappropriate behavior. Wickedly inappropriate. In my bed, in hers, on a table in the archives, in the bathing chamber, and every room with a door to lock so no one else can see what's mine. I'd be so decadently inappropriate that her voice would turn hoarse from screaming my name every single day.
Okay, sir.
Jesus. Jesus.
He wants her bad. Another shared favorite. Guess what? It is more Xaden and Sigil banter.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
In these bonus chapters?
What?
Not me. So Dane asks why they're even here. And so Sigil chimes in, yes, why are you here? Sigil doesn't disguise the mockery in her tone, to which Xaden says, it was your idea to bring the daggers. It seemed a prudent course of action considering your insufferable intolerance to being separated from the general's daughter, she huffs. Insufferable? That's a bit far. Where's Violet now? She mocks. What is she doing? Is she thinking of me? Is she missing me? Is she getting closer to Atos? Does she dream about that kiss? How many days until Violet's? Point fucking taken. She's going to be unbearable on the flight home.
God, I love it. I love it so much.
It's so good. I wish we got more of this in the book.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, you give me an entire book that's just Xaden's POV, and I'm fucking here for it.
Mm-hmm. So this next shared highlight is just Xaden thinking Violet is the most perfect thing. Violet and Mira are currently fighting, and Violet says there's nothing anyone can do about the way I'm made. Xaden thinks the way she's made, she's fucking perfect. Everything about her is what makes her Violet. And I swoon.
They were kissing. Okay? They were kissing. And Xaden thinks, I've never wanted anyone the way I want her. Never craved a woman's laugh as much as her touch, or needed her trust more than my next breath. Only Violet. And I say, stop! I have already melted!
You can't remelt me when I'm already melted.
Left. Don't do this to me!
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this week's episode.
We are so excited to be on this journey with you.
While we will be taking next week off, we are happy to announce that we'll be back the week after with our very first episode of our Iron Flame coverage.
To find the chapter breakdown for Iron Flame and more content, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Bound to Be Bad Podcast.
And while you're at it, please be sure to leave a wonderful little love note while rating and reviewing us on Audible and or Apple Podcasts. It not only helps us grow, but plays a huge part in the growth of any podcast you listen to, so share the love.
Know a fellow book baddie who can't get enough of the Empyrean series either? Now is the perfect time to share us with a friend to give them something to hold on to while we all collectively hold our breaths and patiently wait for Book 4's release.
Till then, we'll be here, and we hope to see you soon. Bye.
Bye.